Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is, of course, Cameron. Absolutely delighted and honoured today to be joined by an Everton legend. Kevin Campbell is joining us to discuss the Mighty Blues of Everton. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We're going to talk about Carlo Ancelotti. We're going to talk about all things Everton and obviously discuss the season so far. Before we get into that, Kev, massive thank you for joining us today. Really do appreciate it. How are you, mate? Obviously, times are difficult at the moment, but I hope you are good and pulling through.
I'm good, thanks, Cameron. I'm really good. It's a pleasure to be on with you. Finally, I get on.
I know.
And look, I know it's tough times, but we all got to help each other. You know, we know how difficult these times are, and mental health issues with certain people, etc. So if we can be kind and help them, even to just ask them a question, how they're doing, you know, that could make somebody's day.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely agree. Spot on. You know, it's really important that you were checking up on each other and family and friends at these times because, you know, it's very easy to get carried away with everything and obviously with everything that's going on. And I'm sure everybody individually has got, you know, a lot of things going on at the moment. But, you know, it only takes a couple of seconds to drop a message to a friend you haven't spoke to for a couple of months or a family member, and that could completely brighten up their day. Spot on, Kev. Spot on. So I thought we'd just get into talking about Everton today. Little conversation about, you know, how we're doing so far this season. Obviously, you know, 7-8 games in now. I don't think any of us would have expected us to start the season as well as we did, you know, firing on all cylinders. Obviously, James Rodriguez, Alan, Abdoulaye Doucouré coming in to the team. Absolutely, it was an absolute revelation to Everton Football Club, certainly with Carlo Ancelotti coming in, you know, Christmas time last season. What have you made of the season so far? Then obviously we've had a little bit of a blip the last couple of games or so. Not a surprise considering we've had, you know, a lot of key players out injured for those games, but overall it's been a pretty good start to the season, hasn't it?
Yeah, look, it's been welcome. If we're honest, it's been welcome. You know, looking at Everton over previous seasons, there's been a few false dawns. There's been a couple of new managers who have come in, and you know, certain players have come in, but they haven't had, obviously, the manager. The stature of Carlo Ancelotti, you know, speaks for itself. To get that, take out that Cortina engine in the middle of the pitch and put that Rolls-Royce engine in, I think that was the key.
Yeah.
You saw the difference in the way the team played, even when they went behind in certain games. You knew that they were going to come back because they've got toughness, they've got quality. In James Rodriguez, you know, he's world class. Yeah. He is world class, and I think he showed glimpses of that. The other players have raised their level. That's the sign of bringing in good signings as well. All the other players, you know, their game went up a bit. So it was a great start. Good to see the Blues buoyant, sitting at the top of the league, etc. Loving the banter. You know, I'm seeing, you know, I know there's a lot of red fans who weren't happy with being at the top there. But it was nice. But we do know it's all new.
Yeah.
So we have to take our time. Yeah, listen, it's not just going to happen like that overnight all the time. So you take your rough with your smooth. Gone for a little bit of a blip recently, injury or suspension. We've seen. I think somebody who's key to somebody we're going to talk about, Calvert-Lewin, is Richarlison.
Yeah.
I think Richarlison is such a good player, and he occupies the defence.
Yeah.
They have to account for him. And that's what allows Dominic Calvert-Lewin to get some space.
Yeah.
So he hasn't found it. He's found it a little bit more difficult since Richarlison's not been there. But I think, what has he got? One more game left, Richarlison, and then he's back.
Yeah, he's back after the international break.
Yeah, back after the international break. So that's going to be welcome. He'll get his international Brazil could get him fit for Everton. Yeah. That's what we like. That's what we like. But it's been a good start. Can't complain. Everton's still up there. Hey, and look, you know, after the international break or after this week, hopefully the full quota will be back and then they could push on again, for sure.
Spot on. Absolutely agree with everything you've said. You know, you brought up a really good point there about, you know, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison and everybody else raising their game because of the players that have come in and because of the impact that they've had. I want to talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin in a second. You mentioned Richarlison. Obviously, it hasn't been so great over the last couple of games because, you know, of the impact that Richarlison has on the football club. I think us as Evertonians, we sort of fell into this just love affair of winning every week and being top of the table. And when you actually sit back and you look at the start, even after the 2 defeats to Southampton and Newcastle, you still have to think that's a fantastic start to the season. You know, beating Spurs away from home, which we haven't done for years, coming back against Liverpool, against, you know, the team that absolutely walked the league last season, and showing that fight and that mentality to get back. Okay, it hasn't been great from, you know, the last couple of games, but it's been a fantastic start to the season. If you'd have said to any Evertonian, this is how you're going to start, you know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the season, I think we'd have all taken it, you know, and snatched their hand off for it. You mentioned Richarlison there. He's key, isn't he? He's an absolutely fantastic player. Not just the impact that he has individually in terms of his own performance, but the impact that he has on everybody else. Obviously, the Newcastle game, we had James and Luka Dean out, so it was, you know, another couple of key players. But the Southampton game, for me, just showed how important Richarlison is and how good he is. Certainly his quality in terms of getting Dominic Calvert-Lewin into games and creating chances, and defensive work rate as well. He's a special player, isn't he, Kev? He's somebody that we should be looking to keep a hold of for, you know, for a long time, and you would like to hope that when he comes back into the team, we can start, you know, we can kick-start again, and that creativity, you know, will come back. But these last couple of games have just showed how important he is, haven't they?
Yeah, look, Richarlison's a fantastic player. I think he's the key.
Yeah.
He's the key to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And if you remember rightly, when Big Dunk took over, he went to 4-4-2 and he played Richarlison with Dominic Calvert-Lewin up top. Now, that's a dual threat that Chelsea couldn't handle. And, you know, we're talking Chelsea, the amount of money Chelsea spend.
Yeah.
So it just shows you the quality Richarlison's got. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's game changed from that moment forward.
Yeah.
Because he had somebody to work with.
Yeah.
And they've carried that through to where Richarlison's playing in his probably more favoured position, which is on the left. I mean, he's so versatile, he could play anywhere, but he's kind of on the left. But what Richarlison does, he occupies the fullback and that centre-half on that side, on the right-hand centre-half. So that then allows Dominic Calvert-Lewin really to go one-on-one.
Yeah.
And with his attributes, he's going to get opportunities. And he's proven, whenever they give him the opportunities, he's been more prolific than he's ever been this season because he's got quality around him. So, you know, getting Richarlison back is going to be so important for Everton moving forward. Obviously, the next game, you know, is a big game. Manchester United are reeling.
Yeah.
No Richarlison. Dini's back.
Yeah.
Obviously, after his 1-game suspension, I'm not too sure whether James Rodriguez will be fit or whatever. But listen, it's a game where Everton should feel confident because Manchester United are all over the place at the moment.
Yeah.
But getting Richarlison back is the key to Dominic Calvert-Lewin because winning matches, you need all the threats on the pitch.
Yeah.
And just when there's no real threats on the pitch and it's just Calvert-Lewin, what happens is the defence says, you are not going to beat us, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Anybody else can beat us, but you are not going to beat us. And that's why they bank up 2-3 against him. Very difficult for a striker.
Yeah, spot on. Completely agree. And you mentioned obviously Big Dunk going to the 4-4-2 and, you know, Carlo Ancelotti come into the football club. And I think when Carlo first come in, you know, 3 times Champions League winning manager, a manager that's, you know, worked with some of the best players to ever play the game. And I think when Carlo first come in, a lot of Evertonians thought, right, okay, you know, we're going to change it now. We'll see a 4-3-3 straight away. But he didn't. He kept with Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison as a front pair. And it wasn't until we brought in James Rodriguez, who had that, you know, extra bit of quality up top, that he actually changed the formation. So I completely agree. I think Richarlison is a fantastic footballer, and it just shows, you know, I think there was a stat that was on Sky Sports last week during the coverage of the game, that since he's been an Everton player, we haven't won a game in which he hasn't played in, you know, whether it be through suspension or injury. So it just shows how vital he is. And I think with Richarlison, you know, and I also think this with Dominic Calvert-Lewin to an extent as well, is they mightn't have, you know, the best game in terms of goal scoring, or they mightn't be on the assist, but their work rate is so good, isn't it? And that's something I wanted to bring up about Dominic Calvert-Lewin is, you know, obviously against Newcastle he got that goal in the last few minutes of the game, but he didn't really have an awful lot because of the lack of creativity surrounding him. But he works hard, doesn't he, Kev? Every single time he's on that pitch, whether he's getting chances or not, he gives it 110%. How important is that for a striker to, you know, even if they're not getting a lot of chances, to not just stand around and wait and shrug your shoulders, but to get involved? And also for Richarlison as well, because he's tracking back and doing the defensive work to help out Luca Dean, which, was massively missed there at the weekend?
Well, in football, as you know, Cameron, football is about connections and duos on the football pitch. You and your mate on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, the centre halves, the centre midfielders, the strikers got to be able to connect to different players. Yeah. It's all about the connections. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin, whether his background, obviously, is being a wide man.
Yeah.
So he came to the club as a winger or a wide midfielder. So he's used to that work. He's used to work.
Yeah.
But going up front, and in previous seasons, we've seen him where he's done a lot of his work outside the box.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of his work chasing defenders and, running channels, etc. And then when the ball was coming in the box, he wasn't in the box.
Yeah.
So I think that playing two up front under Dunk helped him understand how to work. But he's still got it in him, which is great. He's still got that tough streak, because it's the hard yards as a striker when you're chasing defenders. But he's got it in him. He's a fit lad. He gets about the pitch well, and he puts defenders under pressure. Now, the issue sometimes is when you don't have the supporting cast to benefit from that closing down. And early on in the season, we saw Decore, Allen, James Rodriguez, Richarlison, all of these guys, soon as the opposition turned the ball over, they knew exactly what to do. Yeah. The ball got played in, and they were on the attack. Richarlison was picking the ball up. Dominic Calvert-Lewin was through the middle. Chances were coming in, and Calvert-Lewin was finishing. Everton aren't so on the front foot anymore, because obviously the pieces are not there quite yet. So I understand that, but no, it's a brilliant trait to have for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to do that work, and Richarlison as well, because Richarlison works back and forth.
Yeah,
he really does. So I think Carlo Ancelotti's got the nucleus of a great squad, and you need a squad, because whenever there's injuries or suspensions, you want to be bringing in like for like, or someone who can come in and make a real difference. But at the moment, Everton are quite not there just yet.
Yeah, spot on. I agree. And I'm going to ask you about that in a second, about what we need in terms of, because 4 or 5 weeks ago when we would, we'd won 3 games on the bounce, 4 games on the bounce, we're all sitting there sort of thinking, well, what could be? Could we push for the Champions League? The league was being mentioned. So I want to talk about, what we need and where we need to improve for that to become a real possibility. But just finally on Dominic Calvert-Lewin, obviously being a striker yourself, he's been in fantastic form this season. Every time he gets the ball into the box to him, you almost know it's going to be a goal. In fact, I think Jurgen Klopp had an interview after the Merseyside derby, and he was talking about Everton's second goal, and he said as soon as the ball come off Luca Dean's foot, he said he knew. Yeah, he said he heard the Everton bench say that's it. And they knew it was a goal because of how clinical Dominic Calvert-Lewin is up front. And, I haven't been critical whatsoever of him this season. I think his work rate's fantastic. I think when he gets chances, when he's given chances, he takes them more often than not. As a striker, looking at Dominic Calvert-Lewin and as form and how well he's been playing, is there anything that you sort of look at and think he could do with improving on that, or that could take him to the next level if he adds this to his game?
There's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
But what we got to do is take into consideration where he's come from, his previous position, and you got to remember he's only young. He's still learning. Yeah. He's only going to get better. Yeah. That's the great thing, Cameron. He's only going to get better.
Definitely.
So what I see right now, and we've got to give him credit. He's built up from being a winger to a striker. Yeah. Now he's getting more prolific. He's an England international now.
Yeah.
So there's certain parts of his game that he's going to have to improve. For instance, I don't just want to see him up there when the team can't get him the ball. Yeah. He's going to have to go on. He's going to have to influence the game in a certain way. Yeah. Whether it's just to pin a centre half and demand it played into him.
Yeah.
Because whereas at the minute, what I see is, don't get the ball into him, and he's up there, but he's not demanding it You've got to demand it.
Yeah.
Stick it onto me and I'll hold it. Let's get up the pitch because that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
You know what? And he can do it.
Yeah.
But that's the evolution of him. You know, he's young. He's not the experienced player.
Yeah.
When he becomes little bit more experienced, he's going to demand, you know, he's going to pin the centre off, get it up to me. Ball's going to be coming, and that's going to make a difference to James Rodriguez. That's going to make a difference to Doucouré because they're going to trust him, and they're just going to fly.
Yeah.
Richarlison's going to trust him, and he's going to be running in behind.
Yeah.
So there's that little aspect. Another aspect is, you know, when he gets one-on-one.
Yeah.
When he gets one-on-one, it's to go and beat his man.
Yeah.
That's the next evolution, not just back to goal. Can it be a little bit more side on? But things like this will come. Yeah. He will get it, especially with James Rodriguez there.
Yeah.
It will come because that guy's got a wand of a left foot. I wish I was playing, Cameron. I wish I was playing with him. But look, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I've got to give him maximum props. A couple of seasons ago, after a game, I said to him, your work rate is unbelievable, Dominic. I said, but when that cross is coming in, you're not even in the box.
No, yeah.
You've got to make sure you're in the box. And you're right. You know, Jurgen Klopp mentioned it. Soon as that ball left Dini's foot, I said goal.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's where he deserves to be. And that's where he scores his goals. And we've got another number 9 on our hands. I love it.
Yeah, spot on, Kevin. And like you mentioned there, you know, it was a case a couple of seasons ago of him just not being in the right positions. And I don't think that was sort of a negative thing because he was out the game. I think that was because he was working, you know, his socks off to pick the ball up and to go out and to get it and to do all of the other work. And then when he found himself needing to be in the box when somebody else was, you know, throwing the crosses in, he just wasn't there because he was out of position. And you're right, now he's sort of finding himself in the middle and in those areas. And, you know, I agree as well. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin has got all of the attributes to be that type of player that you mentioned, where he wants the ball to him, he's controlling it on his chest, he's beating his man, he's using his strength, he's using his pace. Maybe it is just an extra bit of, I don't want to say cockiness, but that confidence to think, you know what, I'm going to take this, I'm going to go on my own, I'm going to create something rather than looking at, you know, for to pass it off. And I don't know, as a striker, Kev, is that a little bit of selfishness that he needs? Is that just that extra bit of confidence and that bit of, you know what, I can do this? Or is it just sort of, again, like you mentioned, something that will grow with age?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of confidence, not cocky, but confidence,
yeah.
Because at the end of the day, he's a young striker who's doing great.
Yeah.
Now, the next step, this is what we're talking about, the evolution of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. At the moment, you know, he's getting good opportunities because others around him are supplying.
Yeah.
Then he's going to have to be that big character in order to influence the game from the front.
Yeah.
Get the ball into me. I'm going to make things happen. Not only just me in the box, but I'm going to make things happen for those around me.
Yeah.
So the moment he starts supplying goals for James Rodriguez and Richarlison, all of a sudden now the defense, pick your poison.
Yeah.
Who do you want to score? Are we going to mark them?
Yeah.
Or are we going to mark Dominic Calvert-Lewin? You know, that's a conundrum, difficult conundrum for any defense.
Yeah.
So that's just the evolution of him. He's getting used to playing that striker, that lone striker role now.
Yeah.
And you know, he will benefit from having quality players around him. He'll only get better now, Cameron. Yeah. He'll only get better.
No, spot on, completely agree. And obviously working under Carlo Ancelotti, working with Big Duncan Ferguson, who I think it's quite evident to see how that working partnership has improved over the years. You know, some of the headers Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring are very Big Duncan Ferguson-esque. He's rising above his defenders. He's getting on the end of it, and I agree. He's a player that, one thing you could never say about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, even if you thought he wasn't good enough, you could never say that he hasn't had the work rate or he hasn't improved. Every season he's been at Everton, he's improved, and he's showed the willingness to improve as well through the lockdown. You know, videos of him doing 100 sit-ups, you know, jogging in his garden, keeping the ball up with the tennis ball. It's little things that people may just look at and go, oh, that's good, but it shows that extra work. It shows he's putting those 9 yards in.
Yeah, he's committed.
Yeah.
He's committed, Cameron. And that's what we want to see.
Yeah.
We want to see him committed. Yeah, definitely.
Spot on, Kev. On to Carlo Ancelotti then. Obviously he's come in, you know, he's been an absolute, like I said, It's been a revolution under Carlo Ancelotti at Everton Football Club. The first time we've had a manager for decades who is, possibly even ever, who's got all of the credentials that Carlo Ancelotti has had, comes in, with having managed some of the best football players in the world. Not only that, but those players speak about Carlo Ancelotti very, very highly. I'm currently reading his book, Quiet Leadership, and you've got, Cristiano Ronaldo in there saying he's the best manager he's ever worked under. Zlatan Ibrahimovic spending hours talking about him and saying he'd still be there today, talking about him if he could. Some of the, the biggest and best names in football laud Carlo Ancelotti for what he's done for the game. Having a manager like that at Everton Football Club is a massive, massive honour, and you could see, even since Carlo's come in, under Marco Silva, for example, not to dig Marco Silva out, but just for example, we failed to come back from 1-0 down in any Premier League game. Carlo Ancelotti, couple of games in, we beat Newcastle away from home 2-1, beat Spurs opening day of the season. We haven't beaten a top 6 side away from home for a long, long time. 2013, Manchester United. Again, coming back in the Merseyside derby, even though we didn't play particularly brilliantly, we come back, we showed that intensity, we showed that energy, and it's been fantastic, hasn't he, for Everton Football Club so far, and it is literally only the start. And I think, like I said before, maybe we did get a little bit carried away at the start of the season when we were winning constantly and when we were scoring loads of goals. But I think we all sort of sat here, didn't we, Kev, when Carlo first come in and said, look, this is going to take him 2, 3, maybe even more transfer windows to really get his own squad and his own philosophies and get going. How far can Everton go under Carlo Ancelotti? How far can he take this Everton side? Obviously, he's shown, his pull transfer-wise so far. I still stick to this statement by this day. I don't think James Rodriguez and Alan would be Everton players without Carlo Ancelotti. And the impact that they've had on the football club has been massive. James Rodriguez doesn't even need to sprint, and he's still assisting and scoring every single week. So how far can Carlo take Everton Football Club? And it's going to be a couple of seasons, isn't it, before we really start to see that top quality team that we all want to see, and that was as expected when he come in.
Yeah, look, I think this is the first time in a long time where Everton have a manager where nobody could question him.
Yeah,
you can't question him because he's done it. Everywhere he's gone, he's done it.
Yeah,
he came in for the project. I mean, there was a lot of people who were like, Carlo Ancelotti wouldn't go to Everton. But fair play to Fahad Mashiri and Bill Kenwright and all the guys at the top.
Yeah.
They've really got into Carlo Ancelotti and got him in and sold him the project. I think the project is the one. Everton have to be competitive going into that new stadium in Bramley-Moore Dock.
Yeah.
That's going to be the key. Now, I think, do you want it too quick? Of course you want it to happen quickly.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a methodology to it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take, and don't get me wrong here, it's going to take 6 transfer windows, 6, to really get that squad how Carlo Ancelotti wants it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to have to be some moving and shaking. There's going to have to be some players who obviously he inherits, who maybe he's going to have to out them in a year or 2 years' time for better players.
Yeah.
But in that time, he's going to be building. And that's what he's going to do. He's building right now. He made 3 key signings in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah.
You've seen the difference they made. And you're right, Cameron. James Rodriguez, from Real Madrid to Everton, World Cup Golden Boot winner. You would not even the club wouldn't even get near him if Ancelotti wasn't there. Alan, he knows Alan from Napoli. He's managed him. Alan trusts Carlo Ancelotti. All of a sudden, you got another world-class player.
Yeah.
So, Decore. Everton been after Decore since Silva. Couldn't get him.
Yeah.
Ancelotti comes in, speaks to him. It's a done deal.
Yeah.
He's there. So, the presence of the man and his pulling power is immense. But we're not getting carried away. We want it to happen yesterday, don't we?
Yeah.
Of course we do. But me being realistic, I think it will take him 6 transfer windows to get the squad where he wants it.
Yeah.
To see the strength in depth, to see the first 11 even better than it is now, and to beef that squad up.
Yeah.
Anthony Gordon in 2 or 3 years will be a much better player.
Yeah.
There's just going to be, you're going to see virtually, I think you're going to see probably 6 changes.
Yeah.
6 changes in there. You know, the goalkeeper, Pickford is up and down sometimes, but what does he do?
Yeah.
Carlo Ancelotti knows I've got to bring somebody in because I can't be losing. I can't be dropping points and not having a backup. So he's smart the way he's doing it. He's methodical, as you said. You're reading his book, and he's quiet. He's very quiet, but he knows what it needs.
Yeah. It is. It's leading just by presence, isn't it? And, you know, in the book, there's a lot of people talking about Carlo Ancelotti and you know, him not needing to be in the, you know, not needing to be the person that everybody's listening to, or be that I'm here, listen to me. Just when he's there in the room, he doesn't have to say a word. You know that, you know, whatever he does say, you listen to him, and whatever he does, you follow. And that's, you know, obviously that's vitally important. Carlo Ancelotti's obviously, you know, come into Everton Football Club and done a fantastic job, but he's also spoken about his want to stay at the football club. He said a couple of times, listen, I want to be pass me contract. If I can sign a new contract, I will sign a new contract. I want to be at this football club for a long time. That's credit to the owners and you know, obviously everybody around the football club, not only to, you know, throw trust in Carlo Ancelotti, but also to, you know, to make him sort of feel like, no, there's a real project here, because, you know, obviously Carlo's bought into the project as well as the players. So to, you know, to hear him come out and say, listen, I love living in Liverpool. He's always talking about Crosby, and to say, you know, he wants to be even past his contract. It's really refreshing to hear, isn't it, from a manager like Carlo Ancelotti, not just to say, I'm going to come in, I'm going to do me typical 2 years, because he, you know, he has in previous clubs, he's done 2 or 3 seasons and then he's moved on. He said, you know, he's been asked that about a couple of times, and he said, no, I'll stay here for 4 or 5 years, you know, plenty of years to come. It puts a smile on your face, doesn't it?
It does, and you know what? Not only do the hierarchy take some pats on the back, and everybody at the football club, I think the fan base as well. I think the fan base has really taken to Mr. Ancelotti. I think he's been out and around in Liverpool, and there's no problems. People are loving the job he's doing. People respect him because they know he's the real deal. So I think the fan base has to take tremendous credit as well, just like the owners and the people at the club. And look, this is a big project, but I think it's a project that he can do. And why not have him there longer? Because you know what? You can chop and change managers all you like, but there won't be nobody coming in who's going to be connected to the club like Carlo Ancelotti is. And to realise what is needed at the football club like Carlo Ancelotti does. So I think, why not? You know, keep him and let him kick on.
Spot on. And like you said, there's no better manager to have in there. There's literally nobody else on the market now that you'd think, right, okay, they've got the CV, they've got the credentials to come in and take us to that next level. It's Carlo Ancelotti. Next game then, Manchester United. Again, early kickoff on the weekend. Everton coming off the back of 2 defeats. We will have Luca Dean back, obviously, after his suspension. We're not too sure on James Rodriguez or Seamus Coleman. However, Seamus Coleman has just been called up to the Ireland national side for their upcoming fixtures. So the hope there is that he's regained fitness. Massive game, isn't it, Kev? Really, really important game for Everton to bounce back in. Obviously, like you mentioned before, Man United can definitely be, you know, got at defensively. They've showed that they've got issues. They've showed that they can be broken down, and it will be a good chance to win before going into the international break.
Huge game, absolutely huge game. Manchester United are reeling right now. If ever there's a time to play them, it's now. But the one issue for Everton is they're not at full strength. And you know, it's one of them. What Manchester United's going to turn up? Because we know Manchester United could beat anybody on their day. But they're not having them good days as often as they used to. So can Everton win the game? Of course, Everton can win the game. But if Everton are gonna win the game, gonna have to defend properly. Because one thing you do know, Manchester United got weapons at the top end of the pitch. So if Everton defend properly, Everton win the game. But if they don't, then it's going to be a difficult game. Look, I obviously want Everton to win the game. I'd want Everton to win the game, you know, clean, 3-0, you know, something like that. But I think it's going to be by the odd goal. I'm going to take Everton to win the game 2-1. Solely because Manchester United just ain't been playing well enough. I know Everton haven't been playing well, but getting a key piece like Lucas Digne back, you know, they'll shore up the back, and hopefully James Rodriguez plays. And that will give Dominic Calvert-Lewin a little bit more respite and some more service, so we can get on the score sheet, and they might make life difficult for Manchester United, and Everton win and go into the international break with a W under their belt.
Let's hope so. You're right, you're spot on. We have to be strong defensively because they have got a very, very good forward line, and a forward line that usually does well against Everton Football Club. You know, Anthony Martial is one of those players that you look at and you think you'd always see him to score against Everton. But you're right, you know, if Dominic Calvert-Lewin can get on the ball, if we can create chances, we'll definitely hurt their defence, because they do struggle, and they've showed even midweek in the Champions League. You know, the goal he conceded where Demba Ba was just completely left on his own up top, and he ran on. If we can get an opportunity like that, we have to take it. We can't, you know, allow them to can't allow us to have 4 or 5 opportunities and not take them, and then go in at half time 1-0 down because they've taken one of theirs. That's key, isn't it, to this game, is that we take our opportunities when we make them, because I think, you know, there's no question about it. We will get chances. It's just about converting them.
100%. Got to take your chances when they happen.
Yeah.
And I truly believe they will. Yeah. I truly believe in Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You've got one of the hottest strikers in Europe right now.
Yeah.
So if Everton create the chances for him, he will take them.
Yeah. Spot on. Before we finish up then, I just wanted to ask one last question. Obviously, absolute Everton legend, somebody I've grown up idolising. I don't know if you've seen, there's a video on our channel, my dad's home office. He's got a couple of signed shirts and pieces from yourself. I just wanted to ask, what was your favourite Everton memory from your playing times at the football club? Obviously, you know, the goal against Liverpool at Anfield is one that comes to my mind, but what's yours as a player? It might be an on-field memory, it might be something in the background, it might be something at training. What sticks out to you?
No, I think the real important one for me, obviously Anfield '89 was wonderful, and you know, that record's still there, and I want it gone. So yeah, that was fantastic. But I've got to say, the atmosphere against West Ham at home, when I joined, and you know, we were winning the game, and it was with about 10 minutes to go. Yeah. And the Evertonians were all emotional. They were coming. The noise in the stadium was unbelievable. You know, you could see we were safe.
Yeah,
we were safe. So it was a lot of relief. And the Evertonians were just so made up. Yeah. So I think that for me was the time what cemented it. Yeah, for me, definitely.
Spot on. Couldn't think of a better one, to be fair. Absolutely spot on. Well, Kev, big thanks for joining us today. I really do appreciate it. Honestly, it means a lot to us. I know I don't have to say it, but if you haven't checked out Kev's Twitter, YouTube channel as well, go down in the description. The links are there. Go and give him a follow. Go and give him a subscribe. I'm sure you all do anyway. He's an Everton legend. Kev, massive thanks for coming on. Hopefully we can get you on in the next few weeks as well, if you're up for it. Anything to say before we finish this one up?
No, listen, I just want to say again, to all the Blues, you know, thanks for your support over the years, and I love conversing with you on social media, etc. And it was nice being at the top of the league, and you know, I sincerely hope Everton could pick up again and get back to the top, because you know what, it was great seeing the Reds suffer. It was brilliant. It was. So come on, you Blues, get up there.
Yes, he's right, Kev. Up the Toffees. You're spot on, by the way. It was absolutely fantastic to see their faces. You know, top of the league. Obviously, the song went right to the top of the chart. It was brilliant, and it's important that those times aren't temporary, and we make them more of a permanent fixture. And if we can win on Saturday, obviously we go straight back to the top, and you know, we can say it wasn't just a good start to the season. We're here to be serious. So absolutely spot on, Kev. Really appreciate joining us today. Listen, if you've enjoyed this video, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. Like I said, don't forget to check out Kev's socials in the description down below. Twitter, YouTube, anything else, we'll throw them in the description. Big thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. Massive game on Saturday. Let's hope we can go out and get the 3 points. Up the Toffees. Come on, you Blues.
Up the Toffees.
Up the Toffees. See you soon.